Hey guys, so I got a couple messages on Instagram asking me about the Verus air oil separator or AOS, and I couldn't really find anything online of anybody buying it and showing on YouTube, so I figured I'd just do it. Hopefully, it helps somebody out. Let's get right into it because I'm not gonna play around with showing you guys about my day, all that bull crap. All right, let's get to what you came here for. So, obviously, you could tell that my BRZ, it's a 2013, by the way, 2013 Subaru BRZ Limited, has a Sprintex supercharger in it, but we could talk about that some other time. But what we're going to talk about today is that thing. So that is the Verus air oil separator. Let's see. Let me go grab a flashlight. Alright, so I got a flashlight, and the first thing we'll talk about is that red thing right there. Okay? So, that is the cam plate, and it's bolted by 3 bolts, and then it has that little bolt in the middle for the drainback system. Install was pretty easy for me, only because the car was up on a lift and it was easier to access. Also, at the time I was putting in my header, and so I had more clearance. In terms of somebody installing it without a lift or anything like that, what you could do, this is the air oil separator, so that would be out of the way, and it should be pretty clear. You just probably have to remove this bar here. And you should be good to go. Now, I have the complete kit, so the drain back system, the air oil separator itself, and then the coolant. Now, obviously, mine is supercharged, so mine will be set up differently, but it's kind of close to how it would be NA. Yeah. Anyways, so they come in different color options. This is it right here. It's a pretty straightforward install. It kind of comes off of where your battery tray would be. Whoops. Alright, so I won't go through the hoses just in case I call a spot, I don't know, incorrectly or something. Well, you know what? We'll just go through it. So, the first line, there, right? This guy goes all the way over and is connected under my AC compressor. Now you should have an existing hose, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, there. So there's that. And then the hose next to it goes into the intake tube. In the stock, it would probably go, if you had your intake tube like this, it would probably go on the side. It would kind of go in like that. And that sort of like creates a vacuum for that. Right, because these two, 1, 2, work together, and 3, 4 work together. So, yeah, there's that. Anyways, the next one is kind of tricky. You have to remember to use your existing PVC, PCV, whatever valve that thing is. Damn, this is terrible. This is a terrible friggin' product review. But anyways, just remember to take that. That's an OEM piece, okay? That is actually located at the back there. Now, how it's usually rigged up is you have your intake manifold, right? And then you take the D4S cover off, and then in the back you got 2 tubes, okay? You have your, what is it? The one on the right, I think, is your brake booster, and then the one on the left is the whole draining into your intake manifold thing. So, you unplug that thing, plop, and then you unscrew it from the back, and you take that and you put it in here. And that's a thing that kind of tripped me up with this kit. It took me a little while. I also flooded my intake system with oil because I used the wrong PCV valve thing. Yeah, so it essentially just sucked oil right into the intake manifold, and I was wondering why. You know, it was sounding weird, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was a shit ton of smoke in the back. Anyways, that's a different story. So, yep, you put your OEM valve there, and then this is a hose that came with the kit, and it comes with an adapter. And what you do is then you have your other hose, which is slightly larger than that one, and you just plug it in down there. Now the valve down there is a valve that's supplied to you from Verus. It's I think it's I don't know, it looks, you'll see it. Oh, wow, what the hell was that? You'll see it. It's like a little, I don't know, valve thingy that's completely open, and that's what you're going to stick down there. And then this line, this first line, let's figure out where that goes. Where does that thing go? Well, I don't remember where I plugged this line in. But it's plugged in somewhere. Yeah. Anyways, so that's about the whole hose setup thing. The thing is too, it's after you understand how the air oil separator works, with the first two working together and then the last two working together, you could essentially set it up as however you'd like. For example, if I wanted those last two in the front and working across that way, it would be the same difference as if it was in the back. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, the coolant. So the coolant thing is actually kind of cool. It prevents condensation in your air oil separator so that you don't have any water in your oil or whatever. At least that's what I read. Anyway, so it hooks up in the back here. Boop, boop. And you have hoses. I don't know if you can see that. That's a hose. That hose essentially is an OEM hose that's shooting coolant from the other side all the way over. And it goes through my air oil separator. Then it comes out and it actually goes through my throttle body. If you could see, whoops, that clip, that is actually going to the air oil separator. And on the other side of this throttle body, or in the front there, this one here, actually, this hose, that is going back into the system. So when you turn on the car, all the coolant just goes through there, goes through the air oil separator, and then it goes through the throttle body, and it comes out, and it goes back into the engine, wherever it may go. Yeah. So as far as the product, I think it's pretty rad. Pretty easy to install. I've never installed one of these before, and it was actually pretty cool, pretty easy. What else? Oh yeah, it does make this weird noise, like a vacuum noise. So when you turn on the car and shut it off, you'll hear from the passenger side kind of like a release of vacuum noise. And I think that's normal, unless I really installed this incorrectly and I'm like totally screwing up my engine. But I've had that thing on before the supercharger, so I think I'm doing something right. And as far as pricing goes, I think it's pretty competitive compared to all the other air oil separators. I like this one because it had the drainback and the coolant. It was just a little extra. I thought it was kind of neat. Why I would recommend this over a catch can is because since this has a drainback system, you don't have to worry about emptying it out or anything like that. it kind of just recirculates it back into the system, but prevents the oil from going into your intake, which is pretty cool. Especially with forced induction, you kind of need something like this, an air oil separator or a catch can. But even for NA, I would recommend at least a catch can, and the setup would be pretty much the same. It might be located differently, like for example, radium I think is like located either on one corner or the other. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the Verus air oil separator with drainback system and coolant. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to message me. I have an Instagram that has this car on it along with my motorcycle stuff. It's setgo, setgo.moto, and I just post pictures and stuff. So if you follow me, I'll follow you back. Also, I just want to quickly add, let me know what you guys want me to talk about next. I could talk about my IRP short shifter. Whoa, over there. Why do I have hair on my fingertip? Well, right there. Or I could talk about my FT86 Speed Factory race unequal length header, which I guess you can't really see, but it's in there. I could tell you about the driving experience of that. Or I could talk about something else. I don't know. Or I'll just pick a mod. Anyways, between the two, which one would you guys like to hear?